and good day. Welcome to the Middlewich branch of the Shropshire Union Canal. We are on Osiris. We have Bryony and we have my dad Mike, and the three of us are heading down the main line of the Shropshire Union where we join up with the Staffordshire and Worcestershire Canal for a very short amount of time, and we're going up the Wolverhampton 21 onto the Birmingham canals, down through Dudley and then into central Birmingham. And then from there we go on the Birmingham Fazeley Canal, where we join up with the Coventry, then onto the Trent and Mersey, back onto the Staffordshire and Worcestershire Canal, and then back down onto the Shropshire, making one big ring. So we're going to be documenting the trip as we go. As I said on the video yesterday, we're going to be posting these at 6 o'clock every day. They're only going to be short 5-10 minute videos, just outlining where we're going and what we're doing. So, the clouds have cleared. So let's go and get cracking on this trip.
So there you have it, the very first day of the break. It's not been a very long day. We've come from Venetian Marina and we're just at the bottom of the Audlam flight now. So tomorrow we've got 15 locks here at Audlam, and then we've got another 5 at Adderley and another 5 at Turley. So that's going to take us up onto like almost a summit level really of the Shropshire Union, which is the top bit. And then we've got probably a good day really without any locks whatsoever. So we're going to hunker down for the night. It's a beautiful evening and we're going to have a nice stew that Bryony prepared for us, and then we're going to get our heads down and get an early start I think tomorrow. So more of this tomorrow.
beautiful South Cheshire village of Audlem sits right on the edge of the Cheshire Plains, close to the Shropshire border. This very picturesque, beautiful flight of 15 locks is the start of the main ascent towards Wolverhampton. This, along with another 5 locks at Adderley and another 5 at Turley, bring the canal to almost what we know as a summit level, the highest point. Thomas Telford, the main engineer of this canal, was typical of building things in straight lines, and as you can see from both ways on this drone footage, even this flight of locks was built straight, right up the side of the hill.
Good morning and welcome to the provincial town of Market Drayton on the Shropshire border. So it's day 3 and we've stopped in an area where there's a load of jetties just to the side of us, and this is probably going to be our mooring maybe for the next year because I'm going to university not far away from here for my final year, so we thought we'd bung the boat down here so we could use it a bit more. Anyway, so Market Drayton, there's not an awful lot here anymore. There's a very handy Asda where we stocked up on gin, and we had a little wander around the town, but there's not an awful lot here, to be honest. So going forwards, we're going to go through some of the lovely cut-ins, and we've got the locks at Turley, which are very beautiful. We need to get some gas because we've run out of gas this morning. I need to replace a couple of bottles, which we should have done before we left, really. So onwards it is to yonder. Also, little, maybe boring but slightly interesting fact, I am an absolute die-hard REM fan, as most people who know me will understand. And in 1996 I was waiting for the album New Adventures in Hi-Fi to come out. I was really excited by it because I would have been 15 at the time, 16. And while I was here in Market Drayton, I managed to buy the single, the very first single off the album, which was Ebo the Letter. And I remember putting it into my Discman, literally cruising past this section, getting back to the boat on a really rainy day. We were on a boat called Tamar at the time. Really horrible, wet, rainy day, and I put it into my little Sony Discman, listened to it for the very first time, and it was magic. And it still holds a pretty special place in my heart, that song. And every time I hear it, I think of here. So, there you go. Silly facts, number 1 for the day.
Entering into Woodseaves Cutting I think is always a beautiful and somewhat impressive sight. The cutting itself is up to 70 foot deep in places, and it was hewn out from the solid sandstone of the area. Now it's home to huge amounts of vegetation, making the area really beautiful. It was completed in 1832, along with Grub Street cutting a little bit further along, making the canal very, very straight, typical of Thomas Telford, the engineer of this canal. The bridges on this section are also obviously incredibly high. One of them's even called High Bridge. They're really, really impressive to go under as well.
Good morning, welcome to day 4. You join us in a beautiful part of the world. We are on the little village of Nosal, and we're just about to go through the absolutely immense tunnel of Cowley Tunnel. It's carved out from the sandstone. It's pretty impressive, but it's so long that we'd be through it in about 30 seconds. So this morning we set off from Norbury Junction and did all our services and all that kind of stuff, and today we're going to head down to sort of Brood area, which is pretty much at the end of the Shropshire Canal, before heading up through Wolverhampton tomorrow. So let's get cracking, and while we're just waiting for another boat to come through the immense tunnel. The engineering involved in making parts of this canal is just staggering, I think. This would have all been hewn out from the rock, from the sandstone. All of these cuttings, incredible. Here we go, into the massive tunnel. Woo! Woo! Cowley Tunnel. Bring your horse up here, over the top, change sides without having to unhitch it. The canal down here is absolutely beautiful. I've always really liked this stretch. We're at the bottom of the Shropshire Canal. Well, we're coming to a little village called Wheaton Aston, which is legendary for having cheap diesel. But yeah, as you can see, it's just beautiful down here. Beautiful woodland, really nice overhanging trees. It's been a bit of a chilly day today so far. But I feel a bit like Michael Portillo with this. I've got my original 19 late 80s, I think it is, 1987, I think. Nicholson's Guide to the Waterways. And it's well, the canal doesn't change an awful lot. You know, the bridges and the locks are still in the same places, and so, you know, why not use an old book? And it's just got a lot of memories. So it's tatty, it's old kind of wearing away, and a bit knackered. But it's like our old faithful guide. So it'll get us through most of this trip, actually. This is a central guide.
Right the way along the length of this canal, you'll see these milestones. But one of the strange things is, if you do this canal, is that the canal goes to Chester. But it only goes as far as Nantwich on the signposts. Reason being, there's a clue in the name of this canal, it's the Shropshire Union Canal. So originally it was the Chester Canal and the Liverpool and Birmingham Canal. And the Liverpool to Birmingham Canal only went as far as Nantwich, and the Chester Canal was after that. So, the signposts only go as far as Nantwich.
So we've reached the end of the Shropshire Union Canal, and at the end of the canal is what's known as a stop lock. So a stop lock literally changes the level of the canal by about 2 or 3 inches, if that. The reason being is that when all the canals were individually owned, they wanted to preserve the water in each of the canals, and they would charge for passage onto the canal.
This is the toll house where you would have paid to get onto the Shropshire Union Canal, using the stop lock. But as you can see, the difference between the two levels is absolutely minuscule, really.
Hello and good morning. I have swapped over to my phone because I haven't got the right bits here today. So you join us on it's Friday, and we stopped in very noisy but okay Wolverhampton last night. No bother apart from some guy saying "I will free you" in the middle of the night. But yeah, we are on the Birmingham canals now, which are completely different to anywhere else it'll go, I think.
Water is a murky sort of blue colour, but really, really clear. You can see the bottom most times. You can see fish swimming by. We've just seen a little grebe, about 400 moorhens and coots. So quite a lot of good ecology down here, living in these reed beds at the side of the canal. There you go, a big gang of ducks. So a lot of things living here. So we are heading down to the Black Country Museum, and we're just about to go through Cosley Tunnel, and then we will be not far off then. Try and show the profile of this tunnel. I've never been to, well, I would have been through here once before, but I've never seen one so high and so wide. It's absolutely incredible. The amount of bricks it must have taken to build that is crazy.
A momentous moment in the holiday. This is the very first lock that we've actually gone down, entering into the new line in inverted commas, of the Birmingham Canal navigations. This bridge is low. So we're dropping down onto the, in inverted commas, new line of the Birmingham canals. So the old line basically went from factory to factory and it was very wiggly. And then Telford came along, our old mate Telford, and decided to just cut right through the middle. Drop down these locks right into central Birmingham, which is the way we're going that way. It feels very old here in canal terms. It feels really old. The architecture is different and the bridges are different, the paddle gear, there's some strange pounds at the sides of the locks as well to help with the levels. It just feels very classic, really. So, down we go.
All around the BCN, you will see these abandoned wharves off the main line of the canal. They once fed factories and foundries, now just a relic of a bygone age. But there is a strange urban beauty about them, which I absolutely adore. This is Dudley Port, and Dudley Port Junction is where the canal goes off to the right hand side and feeds into Netherton Tunnel. And Netherton Tunnel was built as a parallel tunnel to Dudley, the one we went through at the Black Country Museum. It was built to alleviate some of the stresses and strains that were being put on Dudley Tunnel to try and keep traffic moving fast around the system. But we're not going that way. We are going this way, straight down the new line.
As you can tell, I get a bit muddled when we come down here because there's just so many other little canals and wharfs and things. I mean, you have to just, you have to stick to the main line here and just go in a straight line for the last, well, God knows how long. But there are all these other canals going left and right and off into little wharves and boatyards, another heron. And it's just a bit of a mismatch of different things, really. So I find it all pretty fascinating. We're still on the new line, and the railway is just about to cross the canal by the looks of it. Soon we're going to be coming to another junction where I believe it's the Tame Valley Canal goes off one way. And we did the Tame Valley when I was probably about 8 or 9 years old. So we're talking 1988, 89, somewhere around there. And we had a boat called Heart of Gold. And it was pretty much unnavigable. And we fought our way through it. The locks were completely full of trees. They were overgrown completely. The paddle gear wasn't working. There was no water in the pounds. But we fought our way through it. There was literally entire bedroom suites, like a full mattress, a bedstead, a wardrobe, just floating around in the canal. It's all pretty strange stuff. So we're going to be coming up to the junction of that canal, and apparently nowadays it's absolutely beautiful. But yeah, well, thankfully we're not going that way. We're just going straight down into Birmingham. Hey, another train. So, onwards. So it's time to get my ecologist head on for a minute. And one of the things that I've studied over the last couple of years is the importance of wildlife corridors and what we know as green infrastructure. But this is a prime example. We are going through the outskirts of Oldbury and Birmingham. Either side of the canal we have a towpath, which is unusual, we have on both sides. And we've got an incredible amount of different types of vegetation, different wildfowl. It's going to be home to millions and millions of invertebrates, many different species. They'll give us an indication as well, the invertebrates, as to water quality. So you can measure on a thing called the Transbiotic Index, just how good the water quality is by what exactly can live there. Say if you're looking for mayfly, dragonflies, that kind of thing, and even just little, horrible little bloodworms and stuff like that, they will all give an indication to the quality of the water in a particular area. So areas like this, as much as they are very, very urban, these corridors are incredibly important to allow different creatures to be able to move from one place to another. Without that, everything would be contained in one particular area, and the chances of any biodiversity in that area would be quite slim. So these green corridors are incredibly useful for wildlife, for mammals, for invertebrates, for birds. You get quite rare dragonflies and things which will need to feed in different areas and move around. And all of this stuff is really important. We've got our pollinators as well, of course, your wasps, your bees, butterflies, that are all going to be feeding on things like the buddleia, which are really, really, well, they're everywhere in urban areas. Buddleia is a beautiful flower, but it is everywhere. And as much as some people treat it as a bit of a problem, in areas like this where there maybe aren't a lot of things for pollinators, under the bridge, buddleia can provide incredible amounts of pollen. So in my opinion, areas like this, the canals and even the railways, pathways, things like that in urban spaces are incredibly important. Using things like green roofs going forwards. So anybody that wants to, build an active green wall as part of their development, just adding spaces for wildlife to be able to travel to and travel from and through, really. So when you get out there and you start developing things, make some green spaces and allow things to move around a bit. This is Galton Tunnel, which is just a big concrete tube, it seems. And it crept up on me a little bit quickly, I wasn't expecting it. This is another one of those really, really high tunnels. It's quite odd. I'm not quite sure why they are so high down here, but they are high. This is the return of the loop that went off before to the left hand side, and that's the continuation of it on the other side of the canal, as you'll see illustrated in the screen grab of the map. There's the return of the loop that went off round the other side a few minutes ago. So we're here. We're in central Birmingham, look. So that there, ooh, let me see. There's the Sea Life Centre over there, where there's the famous canal roundabout. And then just over that way is the largest Lego playground, apparently. So we've got a really, really great morning, right in the centre. Very pleased. A good morning's work. Here down at Brimley Place we've got the famous roundabout. Black Sabbath Bridge.
just about to leave our mooring in lovely Birmingham. Lovely afternoon here yesterday. Pottering around, a couple of drinks, bite to eat. We went sort of out as well, which is the first time we've done that in ages. Like, we went to a sort of a really nice trendy pub and watched the footy, actually. So we're just about to head now. We're going to go down the Birmingham Paisley Canal and just see how far we can get in the time we've got left. So heading off. Weather's just starting to break. Fingers crossed we'll have a nice day for it.
We're about to pass pretty much underneath the Birmingham BT Tower. It's pretty cool. It's a pretty big structure. There we go, look at that. You can probably see it behind me. No. Very strange. We're actually in a lock, in a tunnel, which is just bizarre. So this is a lock, this is the tunnel, and I'm in it. And pretty much overhead is the Birmingham BT Tower. Never been on a lock like this before. Very strange. Couple of guys up there cleaning the outside of the tower. Crazy times. There's that warehouse on top of the canal. Bizarre. Very strange, that. So just a little update. I'm cruising the boat, so that's why my attention is somewhat distracted. But we've just done the Birmingham Fazeley Canal. I don't have an awful lot of footage of it because it was very hard work. We did a hell of a lot of locks, just literally locking all day going down. Then we stopped off last night at a little pub, a couple of pints and a mixed grill, which was good. And now we have come off the Birmingham canals completely, and we are heading back sort of north-ish on the Coventry Canal. So we turn left at Fazeley Junction and are heading along towards Fradley Junction. So it's only a couple of pages in the map book's length of canal for the Coventry. But I'd forgotten just how beautiful the Coventry Canal is. We last did this in 2016 when we did our trip down to Oxford, and it's absolutely stunning. Beautiful, quiet waterway. And the place we're going past now, this on here, when we came through back in May 2016, this was just completely full of bluebells. It was, the whole thing was a bluebell wood. Absolutely beautiful. This is the other end of the Wiley and Essington Canal that we passed when we first were going the top of the Wolverhampton 21. So this is now closed. But this is the other end of the canal that stretches a long way. And it's the home of the Lichfield Cruising Club. Join us after we've just left Fradley Junction, and that is where the Coventry Canal meets up with the Trent and Mersey Canal, which we are on now. See? So we are heading down today through Rugeley and then down towards Great Haywood Junction, where once again we will change canal and go onto the Staffs and Must Canal again and head back down towards Ortherley Junction, where we started the loop from last week at the end of the Shropshire Union. So that's the plan. One of the things that you get on this canal is very, very different locks, different types of bridges, paddle gear. Every canal you go onto really has its own individual style, really. So I'm looking forward to seeing what this end of the Trent and Mersey is like, because it's been about 5 or 6 years since we last did it. So onwards, that way. This is a fairly bog standard piece of canal here. This is the Armitage Shanks Bog Factory. bugs and sinks and all the other stuff. It's like so typical of like 1920s architecture. And as far as we can tell, it's still making bugs. It sounds like the factory's still working.
This incredibly narrow section of the canal was once Armitage Tunnel. The roof was taken off in the early 70s as it was becoming a bit dangerous, so now it's just left this profile.
today joined me quite early. My crew's still in bed, but I'm going to head off because we need to make a bit of time up today. So in a short while we will leave Coven, where we're currently moored, and we will be completing the ring that we started when we left the Shropshire Canal at Ortherley Junction. So just round, probably half an hour away from here is Ortherley, and then we head back then down the Shropshire, back down towards Nantwich and our moorings. It's a bit of a grey day, so we're fighting against time a little bit because we need to be back by Sunday, and it's currently Friday. We should be fine though, I think. So let's get cracking. So there you go, the ring is completed. So just behind us, obviously behind the boat, is Ortherley Junction, where we were sort of the 2 or 3 days in last week, and we're at that little tiny stop lock, which is there to govern the level of the water between the two canals of the Staffs and Mus behind us, and then back onto the Shropshire now. So it's gone a bit wet. I've got my waterproof on for the first time in the holiday, so never mind, let's get cracking again.
The Anchor Inn always feels like a proper canal pub. I'm not entirely sure quite how old it is, but I could imagine old boatmen mooring the boats up outside and popping in for a pint of an evening. It just has that feel down here, that old-fashioned canal feel, rather like the canals in Birmingham did. Leaving the long, dark stretches of the sandstone cuttings, you open out into high, open countryside, once again following the long, straight stretches of Telford's profiles of this canal. You feel like you're a million miles from anywhere sometimes. I'm not even entirely sure how to get here by road. But it's peaceful. It's quiet, it's rural, and it's beautiful. The home stretch back down the Shropshire Canal.
Well, this is it. We're finally on the home straight. We've just turned at Barbridge Junction and heading down the Middlewich branch down to the lock and then back into Venetian Marina where we are mooring. It's turned into an absolutely glorious day. It's been beautiful all day today and we've had a lovely, lovely cruise back. So, I think the statistics were, hang on, let me just get them up again. We've covered some mileage. We really have covered some mileage. We have done 163 miles, 5 3/4 furlongs, and 139 locks, which should take 86 hours apparently. So it's a pretty decent amount of time that we've been away, and it's been pretty exciting and different and relaxing at the same time. We've eaten our body weight in Pringles, and it's been absolutely delightful. So, thank you for watching, and goodbye until next time.